Hello, old sport.
Hello.
Welcome to Say You Think You're Iconic, the movie podcast where it takes me about 3 hours to watch a movie.
Yeah,
Actually, a little bit more than 3 hours.
we've all been there.
That was fun. That was fun.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny when you do like movies that you won't think will be bad until you sit down and start writing notes and you're like, ah,
Hmm. Yeah.
shiz.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ah,
That was this week for Jordan.
yep. That. Mm, mm. Thank goodness this was a 3-day weekend because
Right.
otherwise, who knows if I would have ever finished these notes.
Oop.
How was your week?
It was all right. Work was work. Uh oh, I lost my wallet on Wednesday.
Oh, fun.
And I didn't find it until Friday, which
At least you found it.
yeah, at least I found it. Everything was still in there. It yeah, almost well had a very minor, but it was still there, panic attack on Friday cuz you start thinking I will never find it and then I'll have to replace everything in my wallet, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we eventually found it at Target. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, apparently I lost it at a Target and never tried to contact anybody at Target via phone number because I called multiple times and I just sat there on their dial tone for like 2 minutes until I decided it wasn't worth it and to call again.
Yeah, but look at Starbucks. Not Starbucks. Wow. Look at Target.
Wow, true.
Look at Target. If that was Walmart, you never would have got that
No,
that
I would
wallet
not.
back.
I would if I ever thought I lost something at Walmart, I would have been like, yeah, it's gone now. It's been
It's
gone.
gone. The
It
wolves have
hasn't.
it now.
Yeah. And I don't know if I actually want it back. So that was
Uh,
me.
I had a very interesting week.
Okay. Interesting bad, interesting good.
Debatable.
Oh, okay.
Thursday, I saw Shang-Chi. Very good.
Ugh, such a good movie.
Good movie. Good movie. Um, what day was it? Saturday. Went mini golf with my cousin and her boyfriend.
Ooh, fun.
Being a third wheel was fun.
Yeah.
And then yesterday we went to Great America.
Yay.
Yay. And then they like kept me hostage. Like
Who kept
would
you
not
hostage?
what?
Who kept you hostage?
My cousin and her boyfriend. After
Oh.
Great America, I was gonna like skedaddle and like go home. But they were like, no, we're gonna go to Korean
Uh-huh.
barbecue. And I was like,
Oh,
oh,
geez.
I was like, okay. And then like they explained what it
Have
is.
fun.
And I was
Oh,
like,
yeah. You've never been?
no. And I was like, you're gonna make me sit there and pay to cook my own food?
Yeah.
Uh mm. Yeah, we went. It was okay, but like that restaurant owes me a paycheck.
Oh.
I I was sitting there cooking my entire time I was there. I deserve a
Yeah.
paycheck.
I mean, it's the aesthetic, bro. It's the culture. It's the vibe. You
It's
go there to cook your
ridiculous.
own food.
We paid so much money.
Yeah, that's how it is.
I'm not here for it. I'm not.
So you're never going back to K
Pro-
barbecue?
Probably not.
Okay.
Probably not. I'm
All right.
sorry. Cooking my own meal is not for me. I could
And
have
you have
did
to
that at
pay and you
home.
have to pay to do it. Yeah.
Yeah, could have did that at home.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, also I learned yesterday. I mean, I've
Mhm.
always thought like something about the smell of beer always made me think that it was going to taste disgusting. But I like
Yeah.
actually had beer yesterday. It was gross.
Yeah.
Disgusting.
Yeah. I've always heard it's a stay away kind of drink.
It's disgusting. And some people drink it regularly, and I don't know how.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, there's this girl that I watched on TikTok for a while where She was basically like convinced me that beer is good, and so like people would give her all these types of different brands and like different, I don't know, I guess there's flavors to try.
Yeah.
And like every time she tried, she's like, yeah, nah, no. Beer is
Be-
just ain't it, I guess.
because they were like, let's do these. What are those little hot sake? Is that what it's called?
Um,
Where it's like
where did you?
at the Korean barbecue place. It's like a warm alcoholic liquid. I don't know. It looked like
I know
vodka.
what you're talking about. I don't know what it's called.
Well, they wanted to do like that version of a Jaeger bomb. And I was like,
Oh, okay.
sure. And then like
Uh,
before I actually like filled a cup full of beer and then put in this other drink I'd never had, I like tasted a little bit of the beer and I was like, this is disgusting.
yeah.
I had maybe two little sips of it and then I gave it to somebody else. I was like, I'm not drinking this.
Was the stuff you put in it good, or was it just overpowered by the beer?
The sake was also disgusting. So
I think it would be soju at that point.
sure, whatever it's called. It wasn't it.
Yeah, no.
Mm-mm. So
I love that your whole experience at this place is just not good.
not good for me. I mean, the food was good, but like
Yeah,
I said, it was me cooking my own
cooking,
food.
yeah. And then even the drinks weren't that great. Or well, the
No,
ones that you ordered.
no. I could have had a mojito instead,
Yeah.
and they ruined my thing because like I was the one that was driving, so I could only have one drink, and I was like,
Mhm.
wasted my drink.
Right, one drink and it wasn't even worth it.
Very upset. But you know, I got to charge my car for free, so like it was fine. Um, so yeah, who's
There's
ready
that.
to talk about the Great Gatsby?
Oh my
Look at
goodness.
this. This is probably going to
This
be a
is your
very
English.
long episode.
This is your English 101 class. We are talking about Gatsby today.
Yeah. I actually had
You
to
better be
do a
taking
report.
notes because really?
Yeah. Girl, you were there. Why are you so shocked?
I was there?
Oh my God. Okay. Let's just start.
Yeah, just start, please.
Um, so the movie starts off with a voiceover of a character telling us advice his father gave him while we see a green light flash over misty water. His father told him to always try to see the best in people, and he does this, but he has like a limit. Like
Yes.
most people disappoint him for some reason. We then see that he is speaking to a psychiatrist in a sanitarium, which is like an old timey word for mental institution.
Yes.
Uh, the doctor begins to look at his chart, and we see this man's name is Nick Carraway, and he is morbidly alcoholic. He has insomnia, fits of anger, and anxiety. Same.
Yeah.
Um,
Right. Like to a certain extent, same.
like 3 out of 4 got me right there.
Right. Oops.
Nick then tells the doctor that one man was exempt from bad doings in his mind and begins to tell the doctor about a man named Gatsby. We then go back to the summer of 1922 at the height of the Roaring Twenties, and a young and ambitious Nick is in New York City and he gets a job on Wall Street. He resides in a house like 20 miles away from the city on Long Island, called in a area called West Egg, where like the new rich people live,
Yes.
because apparently there's a difference between new rich people and old rich people.
Yeah. Money is money.
Money is money, but you
Yeah.
know, okay,
Yeah. Probably the old money people didn't want the new money people in their area. I
they
bet
didn't.
you. I
They
bet
didn't.
you.
Um, One day, Nick notices his neighbor looking at him through his mansion window, a
Creepy.
neighbor who he has never met before, named Gatsby. One night, Nick drives around the bay to the Old Money East Egg to have dinner
Mm.
with his cousin Daisy Buchanan and her husband Tom. Um, Apparently they're super rich, but he isn't, and I don't understand how that works.
Yeah, I don't either.
Because we later find out that Daisy was already rich. So it wasn't that she just married into money. She was
Yeah,
already rich.
she's yeah.
So what's going on with Nick? Why is he
Right.
living in like servant quarters?
Right.
Very nice house though, but
Right.
still.
I was gonna say, I'm like, if I had to live in something like that, I would absolutely say yes.
But he literally called it that. He was like, "Yeah, I just live in some servant quarters in West Egg. I pay like $20 a month."
Also, I feel like only somebody with money would call it something like that.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah. He probably has a nest egg to fall back on.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so Tom is heir to one of the country's wealthiest families, and he was once a star polo player. Was that what his sport was?
Yes.
Sure, at Yale.
So basically, he peaked in college.
He peaked in college. He's also having at least one affair.
At least. Yeah.
At least.
Yeah.
In what world do you give your mistress your house number back in a time when they only had house numbers?
Right.
That's ridiculous.
It's like this man has never had an affair before.
Yeah. He was like, you know, it's a good idea. She can call my house, the house that my wife lives at and is always at because she doesn't have a job.
Right. Also, my daughter lives here.
Yep.
I have a full-on family, and you can call the house phone
Anytime.
anytime.
Anytime you want.
Yeah. Even though I told you not to call it dinner, but oops, you called it dinner, and I'm going to answer your phone call.
Yep. When there's
What?
a guest here, I'm going to step aside so I can talk to you.
Oof.
And so
Nice.
Tom and Nick are horsing around when they burst into a room where Daisy and her friend Jordan Baker are doing God knows what on the couch.
Yeah.
While the wind blows the curtains around the room. Like literally, they're like interlocking fingers on the couch. And I'm like, what's going on here?
Yeah. What is going on?
What's going on?
There is clearly one answer at the moment, but would you like to explain yourself?
And Jordan does give very lesbian vibes.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
And then, so after Nick strokes Daisy's ego with compliments, he is properly introduced to Jordan, who is a famous golfer and to him the most frightening woman he's ever seen, but he also loves to look at. What a way to introduce a character.
I know you're very beautiful, but you're also very scary.
But you scare me.
You know what? Actual goals. You know,
Goals, life goals.
Beautiful, but too scary to actually come up and talk to me. Come
on. While talking about how Nick lives in the new money crowd, Jordan asks if he knows Gatsby, and this name shocks Daisy to hear. Even though we learn later that literally everyone knows who Gatsby is, but
yeah, and he's lived there for how long?
Yeah. But before Daisy can ask any more questions, it's time for dinner. During dinner, you know, just like your least favorite uncle, Tom starts to be racist.
Of course.
And he only stops his racism when he gets a call from his mistress again.
Yep.
She calls again.
Again. Right. Like, oops, I called you during lunch the first time. I'll wait. Wait until dinner time.
I'll wait until you're eating dinner. Yep.
Yeah.
This upsets Daisy, so she goes into the house to argue. Jordan tells Nick about the woman in the city that Tom has been seeing, because apparently everyone knows.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's not hard to know. Like, he's not hiding it well.
True.
He's not hiding it well.
But I love how everyone still treats it like it's a secret.
Yeah.
Like, man, everybody knows you're having a freaking affair. Just own up to it.
He's not hiding. And we learn to the extent of which he is not hiding it well later on. Like it gets
Yeah.
to a point where it's so not hidden. I don't know why they don't just actively come over to each other's houses and start having sex.
Right. At that point.
But we'll talk
Just
about
make it easier on everybody.
it. And so after dinner, Daisy tells Nick that she's bored and gives a speech about how when her daughter was born, she hoped that she would be a beautiful fool because it makes life easier for women. But like she's like alluding to the fact like if she was dumber, she wouldn't know that Tom is having an affair. But I'm like, he's not hiding it well at all.
Yeah,
You would
like
have to be brain dead to not realize that he is cheating on you.
Yeah. Yeah, you'd have to have to be very simple to not
A
know
very simple person.
anything. Right.
That night,
Yeah.
when Nick gets home, he sees someone standing on Gatsby's dock looking at the other side of the lake, reaching out.
I love how he thinks that it's a random person.
Yeah. He's like,
and not
wow,
Gatsby himself.
I just see this random person on Gatsby's dock. Okay.
Like, bruh.
Did it ever occur to you that maybe it was Gatsby?
Right. Maybe.
We go back to the sanitarium, and Nick tells the doctor he no longer wants to speak about this, so the doctor has him write about it. So he continues the story on page. We then go to the Valley of Ashes, which is an industrial town like in between New York City and Long Island. So like Midtown now.
Yeah, basically.
It's where the like poorer people live, and there's a mysterious sign from an old oculus that resides over the town, like the eyes of God. Ooh.
And we are going to obsess about this for the rest of the episode. Anyway. Tell me the meaning.
So what does it mean?
What does it mean?
What does the green light mean?
What does the green light mean?
While in the Valley of Ashes, Tom takes Nick to a local mechanic / gas station.
Yes.
Yeah.
/ like mini store also.
Yeah, like a mini store. Yeah.
They have like candy and stuff.
Multi-purpose room. Multi-purpose.
Yes.
Yeah. And we meet the owner, George, whose wife, Myrtle, Tom is having an affair with. And
I love how when he gets the call earlier, they said it's a city girl.
Mm-hmm.
And then you actually see where Myrtle lives, and you're like, is that the city girl, or is just another affair?
She's on the other side of the bridge. She is not a city girl.
Yeah, she is nobody's city girl.
In fact, she's a very country girl. She seems very country.
Yeah.
And so
also, why did Tom go with this lady? Like, he's got a beautiful wife at home. What attracted you to this small town woman? I just want to know.
He has nothing else going on. Yeah. He has nothing else going on. Yeah, Tom's having an affair with Myrtle, and he tells Myrtle to meet him in town and to bring her sister for Nick. Like, he's not even trying to hide it from Nick. He's like, yeah, I'm having an affair.
Yeah,
what about it?
Your wife's cousin.
Yeah.
Who, as far as you know, could be very loyal to your wife.
Yeah. I would have told. Yeah, and so we then cut to an apartment that Tom has so that he can hook up with Myrtle.
Gross.
And they're doing the deed while Nick just sits in the living room. In probably one of the ugliest apartments I've ever seen in my entire life. But yeah, he's just sitting there. That's
kind of beside the point at this juncture. Well, man is just sitting there.
Mm-hmm. While they are
watching the dog.
While they are loudly having sex.
Oh yeah.
For no, like, she's screaming for no reason.
No absolute reason. She probably is doing that to stroke Tom's ego.
Absolutely.
Because probably nothing is happening in there, but
yeah.
You know.
And so Nick then finally gets up to leave when Myrtle's sister arrives with all of her friends.
I wonder how long it took him to be like,
It
you know
took him a
what?
minute because literally after the door opened, they were done. So I was like, you sat there for
True.
most of that.
Right. Or
Hmm.
it could have been like maybe 30 seconds in and he's done. So they're all done.
That's more likely.
Yeah. Yeah. You
Tom
never
seems
know.
like a man that would only last 30 seconds.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then so Tom makes Nick stay, even though he's uncomfortable.
Very
And
uncomfortable.
Myrtle's sister forces Nick to take some pills and drink, which causes Nick to get drunk for only the second time ever.
Poor guy.
Poor guy.
Also, I wonder what he took.
We will never know.
I
She
know
said
because
she
I'm
said
just
they were she said they were pills to take the edge off. Who knows what that could have been?
right. And especially in the 20s, like, bruh.
It was cocaine. it was it was
Probably
probably cocaine.
100%. Yeah.
And then
Poor guy.
while they're all drinking and partying, Nick begins to hallucinate before Myrtle and Tom get into a fight where he slaps her. So he goes on the balcony and hides and awakens the next day on his front porch.
We already knew that Tom was a trash human being,
Yeah.
but yeah, he is even
Also,
worse.
how did Nick get home?
Honestly, though, how did Nick get home? Because
That's
Mans was drinking and hallucinating. So how was he coherent enough to get home
that's
in
a
any way,
DVD
shape, or form?
that's a DVD extra we all need.
It really though.
Him struggling to get back on the train or to get a tab.
Imagine.
Yeah, and then also when he awakens, he notices that Gatsby is watching him again.
Again, creepy.
Very creepy. One day Nick gets a invitation to a party that Gatsby is throwing. Gatsby throws these parties every weekend, and Nick is the only one to ever actually get an invitation. Everyone else just shows up.
How are all these people okay with just going to some random guy's house
With no invitation. I don't
with
know.
no invitation?
I don't know. How did Nick just find out about these parties?
Right.
Have,
If they
have
go on
they
every weekend,
have they not been happening?
right? Recently, like since he got there, however long he's been living there.
And
I
no
don't
one
know.
at work told him about them or
Right.
anything
Like
like that.
he didn't overhear one of his neighbors being like, "Oh my gosh, when is Gatsby having another party?"
Does
Or
Nick have other neighbors?
well, yeah, when you look at the like when we first see his little shack for the first time,
Oh,
it shows
seemingly,
him it shows him between two houses.
seemingly the only people who live there are
Yeah,
Gatsby and
him and
Nick.
Gatsby.
Yeah, and so everyone from mobsters, governors, one of Beethoven's descendants to movie stars go to these parties, and no one has ever seemed to have seen Gatsby before.
And I love how nobody is even more disturbed about that fact.
That's even more frightening to me.
Right. A faceless man that you don't even know throws a party every weekend and you just go?
Yeah, that's weird. Um, Jordan sees Nick and she walks him around. And when they walk into a library, a man tells them that Gatsby does not exist. I immediately would have left.
Honestly,
Immediately,
same. Same. Because at that point, then you're like, who the hell's house is this?
right? Whose
And
house is this?
who's throwing these parties?
It's like, who's paying for this party? Because I'm not paying
Right.
for this party.
Right. Because I'm not. A bill shows up the next day.
Yeah, everyone who was there gets a bill.
Right.
Also, can I just say, I do not like parties. I don't, but I would love to go to a Gatsby party. It looked very fun.
Yeah. But at that point, like going to a Gatsby party, you would just blend in anyway.
True.
Like there'd
True.
be too many people to like but you wouldn't have to converse with anybody if you didn't want to.
Honestly, yes.
Honestly. Yeah, because I would never go to a party. But like something like that was that big, heck yeah, I'd go.
And then while speaking to a random man, Nick finds out that the man he's speaking to is Gatsby. Like he just happens to come across
To be there,
Gatsby.
right?
And I'm gonna say that this is where he falls in love. Um, I did a report, like I said, in high school
Mm-hmm.
about this. And since we went to a very Christian school, I couldn't say that I believe that Nick is in love with Gatsby.
100%.
I believed it when I read the book, believed it when I saw the movie. Nick is
Yeah,
in
I
love
think
with
it's more
Gatsby.
obvious. It's more obvious in the movie,
Yeah.
to be honest.
This is really a story about Nick's unrequited love.
Yeah, this man is gay. 100% for Gatsby.
100%. That's why he sees no flaws in Gatsby, even though Gatsby is full of flaws.
Mm-hmm. And
He's in
that's
love with him.
why he's never pays attention to Jordan, who at one point was like, I'd be down to sleep with you. And he's just like, that's nice.
He's like, that's nice, but you're not Gatsby.
Right. I got a thing for one person, and it's
One
Gatsby.
Yeah, and then while they're talking, Gatsby invites Tom out the next day to go on his hydroplane before asking to speak to Jordan alone. Jordan meets up with Nick later as the party is ending and tells him that she learned something amazing but can't tell him. Why would you tell me that? Why would you sit there and be like, I learned something, but I can't tell you?
Right. But like, that's so in line with her character. Also, people that are like, that suck.
Yeah.
Like, bruh, I just learned something super juicy and it's so interesting. And they're like, tell me, like, oh, I can't, I promise. And
I
they're like,
promise I wouldn't tell.
Bruh, then shut your mouth.
Don't bring it up.
Right. Don't bring it up. I don't care. If you're not gonna tell me, don't.
Yeah. But then she invites him out to tea the next week. One day, Gatsby drives over to Nick's house and invites him out to lunch in his custom yellow car. Gatsby tells Nick his whole life story about how he comes from a wealthy family, was educated at Oxford, everyone in his family died, and how he single-handedly defeated the German army and got medals of freedom from every allied country.
How Nick heard all of this and thought any of it could be plausible?
Because he's in love. You look over things, but like when you're in love.
But even like he says in his little monologue, whatever, he's just all like, he says it in a voice that makes you think like it isn't real. And like, bruh, you just said it wasn't real. So
right, it's
it clearly isn't. It's not. But yeah, I guess when you're in love.
And when you're in love, anything is possible. Like single-handedly defeating the German army.
The German army.
And yeah, so they go to a barber shop and meet one of Gatsby's associates. I never learned this man's name. I was not going to go back to look this man's name up, so I'm so sorry. And he comes up like 3 more times in this movie.
Yeah, he does.
Sorry. Yeah, and then they walk into a speakeasy that is inside the barber shop. And so this cool. Man corroborates Gatsby's story. He's like, yeah, that's all true.
Yeah, literally repeats it almost word for word.
Word for word. He's like, yep. I'm not reading a script at all.
Right. I wonder how he got all of these people to accept that that was his story. And then if anybody asked, say the exact same thing.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he also mentions that Gatsby can be trusted around other people's wives.
Because he's gay.
Weird thing to bring up. Weird thing to bring up.
Right. The minute he said that, I was just like, oh yeah, like, because that man's gay. That's exactly why.
That's not what I was like. Immediately when he said that, I was like, oh, so I can't trust him around other people's wives.
Oh.
I was like, yeah.
I love how we went 2 different directions.
We went 2 different directions, but they're both plausible in this story.
They're both plausible. Yeah. It's up for interpretation.
Yeah, but like he said that and I was like, oh, okay. Keep him away from all married women.
Yes.
Got it.
Maybe any and all women at that point.
Yeah, maybe all women.
Just save them all the heartache, right?
Yeah. And then Tom walks in and Nick introduces the two, but Tom brushes off Gatsby and Gatsby leaves.
So rude, by the way.
That was very rude. We then go to a rooftop restaurant where Nick meets Jordan, and he rambles so much that she immediately tells him what Gatsby wants.
Bruh.
She's like, he just wants Daisy to come over for some tea. Can you please stop talking?
Right, right. Because he literally comes up, starts asking a bunch of questions, and she's like, please calm down, sit down, stop talking. And he just gets louder and louder. And to shut him up, she's like, he just wants tea with Daisy. God.
Right?
Shut up.
She's like, I couldn't have at least eased you into this. Like you just had me spill it out.
Right.
She then tells of how Daisy and Gatsby used to be in love, but he went off to war. And although Daisy waited a year, Tom came into the picture and swept her off her feet. And so the morning of Daisy and Tom's wedding, Daisy received a letter and wanted to stop the wedding, but eventually went through with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was very dramatic.
It was very dramatic.
She like ripped the pearls off of her neck.
That was worth $300,000, by the way.
Yeah, in 1920s money. So
in
just
1920s.
Imagine how much that's worth now.
Right. I can't even imagine.
And then she was just like screaming. And I was like, girl, calm down.
Yeah, she has a full-on breakdown.
I was like, let's say if there's one thing Daisy is, it's dramatic.
Dramatic.
I was like, please calm down, Daisy. It's okay. We can use our inside voices.
Right. We can have a breakdown and not break our $300,000 string of pearls.
Now your mom is in the corner trying to sew them back together. Like, calm down.
Right. Right. And now we have to shove you in the bathtub because that's the only place you'll calm down.
Like a child.
Basically.
And so she also brings up the fact that Gatsby bought the house right across from Daisy's to be near her, which weird.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't he just buy a house in East Egg?
Right. Maybe they have they have like an application and they have to like age your money.
I can't imagine they had applications for housing in 1920s.
Probably not, but I like to think so because old money likes drama and they only like each other, even though they probably secretly hate one another.
We have to do a background check before you can move here.
Yeah. We have to see which of your family members got rich and when.
Yeah. If it wasn't at least in the 1800s, we're going to have a problem.
Right. If it's 50 or less, I'm sorry. We can't talk to you.
We can't take this.
We can't associate.
No. Is your house bigger in West Egg and nicer than our house? Yes. But your family didn't own slaves. So
you didn't get rich during the slave trade, so
yeah.
You know, we have to stop you right there.
We have to shun you.
Yeah.
Also, he throws parties every weekend in hopes that Daisy will come to one, which he did a terrible job at this because we learned at the beginning of the movie she didn't even know.
She had no idea.
She had no idea.
Yeah. Terrible, by the way.
Terrible.
Right. But like Jordan knew about them. So why didn't Jordan say anything to her?
She said they tried to explain it, but it didn't make any sense.
Yeah.
She said that he had asked her about Daisy before, but she didn't know why. And I was like, okay, that doesn't explain how you wouldn't have told Daisy about the parties.
Right. Because if some random guy knew my friend and like asked about them, definitely the next day I would have been like, hey girl.
Hey, this guy asked about you.
Yeah. Some rando asked about you at the party he threw yesterday at his house across the lake from yours, by the way.
I pretended like I didn't know you just in case, but like, do you know him?
Yeah. Right. Just in case he was crazy. But tell me what's up.
Yeah, it's a mess. And then so now Nick is in like this internal struggle about whether or not he should do it. And he comes home to Gatsby waiting for him. And he agrees because he's in love with Gatsby.
Yes.
Yeah. And he just wants to make Gatsby happy. And so
Really though. Yeah.
so he's even like, what day works for you, Gatsby?
Right.
What day do you want to break up a marriage?
Right. Because I work, but you know what? Any day.
Any
Any day
day.
I'll do it.
I'll take a day off.
Yeah, I'll take the day off.
That's
I'll take the week
totally a
off.
thing in 1920s.
Of course.
So yeah, they set the day, and Gatsby tries to pay Nick, but he insists that it's a favor. When the day arrives, Gatsby has Nick's house inside and out decorated. He redoes the garden. He has flowers sent into the house, way too many flowers.
Yeah. He spends hundreds of dollars, which I'm saying in the 20s, like probably price range. But is like in today's standards, it would be thousands of dollars worth of like landscaping.
Mm-hmm. I think he also puts in a fountain.
He does.
Like insane.
He does. Yeah.
And then he also has food brought in.
Right.
So much money to spend.
Lots of pastries, probably expensive tea because he probably didn't think Nick had good enough tea.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
A mess. And so they both sit there anxiously waiting for Daisy to arrive. And a anxious Gatsby tries to leave when she's like 2 minutes late.
Bruh. She wasn't even 2 minutes late. He said it was 2 minutes to 4, and he's like, she's not coming.
Oh yeah. He's like, oh, she's not coming. I have to go.
Like, bruh, it's not even 4 yet. Chill.
And then so he's in the living room when she arrives. And so Nick goes to the door and invites her in. She walks towards the living room, sees all the flowers. Gatsby is not there. And so she thinks that Nick is in love with her. That's her first thought. She's like, wow, he's in love with me.
Do you still marry your cousin? Did people still do that in the 20s?
I hope not.
I hope not.
I hope not.
Because, like, ew. No thanks.
Disgusting.
Also, your cousin's gay.
Very, very gay. Gatsby knocks on the front door soaking wet and walks in to Daisy's surprise.
How freaking dramatic.
Very dramatic.
How freaking dramatic.
And then Daisy and Gatsby are nervous and they barely speak, leaving Nick to be the buffer.
Yeah, it's literally the most awkward first date ever.
Yeah. And so Nick comes up with a great excuse to leave so that they will be forced to talk to each other. And then so it works because they catch up. And when Nick returns, Gatsby invites them both over for a tour of his house. The four of them spend the day swimming, even though it was heavily raining.
Yeah, like hours ago.
Yeah, they swim on Gatsby's personal beach. They make fresh squeezed orange juice. And they rummage through Gatsby's apartment-sized closet.
Yeah.
When I tell you it was the size of like a 2-bedroom apartment.
Yeah. And there's a bed in there for some reason.
Yeah.
Just in case you get tired looking through
you probably get tired going up the 3 flights of stairs you have to get to his shirts.
Exactly. Yeah. You get tired walking through your 2,000 square foot closet.
Yeah. And then so they start doing this thing where Gatsby like throws shirts over the edge while Daisy's on the bed. And then she like starts crying for some reason.
We said she was dramatic.
But she states she's crying because she's never seen such beautiful shirts before. Yeah. And then
also Nick is watching all of this.
Nick is watching all of this happen. While Gatsby is caressing Daisy, Nick notices some pictures, and Gatsby tells him they're pictures of his old friend named Dan Colby. Then proceeds to show Daisy a like album full of every single letter she's ever sent him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, that would have been a red flag.
that's a huge red flag.
Yee.
If he had kept like one or two, that would have been cute, but he kept every single one.
No, see, it wasn't the keeping every single one that's the red flag. It's creating a full
An album?
photo album.
Yeah.
Yes. That is the scary part. Because keeping them, that's cute. You're sentimental. Making a freaking album with clippings from the newspaper about her and pressing flowers into it too.
Very future
Uh,
serial killer. Yeah.
yeah, that's obsession right there.
Speaking of which, I listened to a podcast. Apparently, there's a theory that there were so many serial killers in like the 80s, the 70s, and the 80s because of lead in the paint when they were children.
What?
And I believe it. I'll send you the podcast. I'll send it to you.
Yeah. Oh my
Yeah, and
gosh.
so while they're looking at these letters, Daisy loves them. A man begins to play the grand piano in Gatsby's foyer. So Nick
It's an
and did
organ.
what?
It's an organ.
It's an organ?
Yeah.
Sure, whatever.
That's an organ.
Whatever, same difference. And so Nick and Daisy dance while Gatsby has flashbacks of him and Daisy, the war, and the green light at the end of his pier.
Which nobody seems to see besides him, by the way.
Yeah, he has a lot of flashbacks. Later, while Gatsby and Daisy are dancing, Nick tells us in voiceover that Gatsby told him that night that the night that he saw him, the last night that he saw him, wow, words.
Words.
That his real name was James Gatz and that he came from a poor family in North Dakota. At 16, he ran away and ended up saving a drunk millionaire during a storm and became like his right-hand person, who was Dan Colby.
Yes.
Dan took him under his wing, but when Dan died, his family took all of his money, leaving Gatsby nothing. Nick says that he cheated him out of the money, but that's not true.
Yeah, no.
Because if he was meant to get that money, Dan would have put him in his will. Dan didn't want him to have that money.
Nope. But remember, Nick is in love, guys.
Nick's in love. He'll believe anything Gatsby tells him.
Yes.
Yeah, but by the middle of that summer, Gatsby somehow was a millionaire and no one knows where all his money came from.
Yeah.
It's also during this point where Beyonce's amazing rendition of Back to Black is played.
Yes.
Excellent song. One day, Tom and Daisy come to one of Gatsby's parties, and Tom is suspicious of Gatsby because he doesn't know where his money came from, and he doesn't trust him with Daisy. Gatsby and Daisy dance during the party, and Tom goes off to flirt with a movie star.
Yeah, this man still does not know how to cover an affair.
No, and he gets turned down because he comes back like 2 seconds later.
Yeah, as he should.
As he should. Gatsby uses Tom's distraction, quote unquote, to lure Daisy somewhere quiet where they kiss while Nick watches.
Strange.
Very strange.
That's very your cousin. Strange.
Yeah.
Like I understand that you like this guy, but geez.
Yeah.
No.
There's some things that just should not be happening, and this is one of them.
Yeah.
Nick also goes as far as to lie when Tom asks where she is.
Mm-hmm. And he believes it. It looks like. It.
Yeah, he's like, okay, just like tell her I'm looking for her. After they kiss, Daisy tells Gatsby that she wants to run away. So Gatsby starts coming up with a plan to run away, and she's like, whoa, whoa, she was like, I was just talking, like, let's just continue to have fun.
Right. She's like, bro, I was kind of just talking out there, just joking a little
Yeah,
bit,
he's
you
because
know.
he's like, you need to tell Tom, and then she's like, whoa, who said that?
Yeah, he like straight up just starts planning the next 6 years out for them, and she's like, "Hold up, man,
Hold
hold
up.
up."
She was like, I was in the heat of the moment, I didn't mean that.
Right, right.
Nick finally comes and tells them that Tom is looking for Daisy, and so Gatsby goes off to have a meeting with the man from the barbershop that I told you I could not remember his name. And,
Yeah.
and he watches as Daisy and Tom drive away. Nick stays to tell Gatsby that Daisy left, and Gatsby tells him that she needs to tell Tom that she's leaving him so that they can be together and get married at her family home in Chicago. Like he has this whole
Yeah.
plan, and Tom is like, not Tom, Nick is like, wait, hold up.
Right, right, right,
He's
right.
like,
Same reaction.
you're moving a little fast, sir.
Right. I'm sure if you asked Gatsby if he had a wedding itinerary, he probably did.
Girl, he probably had a ring somewhere up in that house.
Mm.
He probably had some nannies on standby for her daughter. he
Yeah,
he was ready.
yeah, yeah. He had a moving company
Yeah.
like on speed dial. Yikes.
Yeah. And then Nick finally is like trying to talk some sense into Gatsby, but he is not having it.
Mm-mm.
And he's like, I want things to go back to how they were 5 years ago.
Yike.
Yikes. And then we have a flashback of how Gatsby and Daisy met at a party at her house, and it was love at first sight. They even had sex that night. They used the blossoming flower analogy, but like they had sex.
We all know what was going on. Yeah.
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 After Tom and Daisy's visit, the party stopped. Like they just stopped. And
Because he's
Daisy,
dramatic.
yeah, and Daisy was not so discreetly going over and continuing her affair. Like there were paparazzi outside the house every night.
Yeah. And I love how like the papers were still like, who is this mystery woman?
Right?
Like,
Who is it? It's like
we
follow
all
the
know who.
car.
Right.
Like she's going to her house after this.
Right. Exactly. Also, I'm sure if you asked Gatsby, he'd be way too proud to tell you.
Yeah, he
I'm
like,
just saying.
oh, her? Oh, that's Daisy.
Yeah. Oh, you mean my lovely Daisy, who lives
The love
across
of
the
my
way
life.
from me? The love of my life, Daisy Buchanan. Is that who you're talking about? That Daisy?
um, yeah, and then so one day, Gatsby asked Nick to come to lunch with him, Daisy, Tom, and Jordan because Daisy is finally ready to tell Tom. And Nick
Why did they need an audience?
I have no idea. And Nick agrees to come.
Yeah. Well, we all know why Nick agrees to come, and I probably understand why Jordan came because she wants
Jordan
to
came
see
for
the
the drama.
drama.
Yeah,
Yes, she did. Yes, she did. You know she did.
Jordan loved the drama because literally she in the next like couple of scenes she gets yanked places and she is just happy to go.
Yeah, she does not complain, protest, anything. She's like, oh, we're going somewhere
We're
else. All
going to a
right,
different location now.
let's go.
She
I'm
was like,
down.
are the stakes getting raised? Let's go.
Right. Why are y'all sleeping on this? Let's go to the secondary location.
Yeah, and then so at the very awkward lunch, Gatsby points
Oof.
out that he lives across the bay from them, and Daisy starts freaking out. She's like, let's
Mm-hmm.
go to town out of nowhere.
Yeah,
She's like, it's
she
so
can't handle
hot.
it.
Let's go to the middle of a city.
Right, where it's 100% hotter there.
Yeah, we have this nice coastal breeze. Let's go in the
Right,
middle
and
of
I'm
New York
sure,
City.
and she has a pool outside, and she's like, let's go to the city.
Yeah,
That's where I want to be.
insane. Also, who was taking care of their daughter? We see that
Right.
child once at the end of this
Once.
movie. Who is taking care
She's
of
gonna
her?
she's gonna have some issues later.
A lot of issues.
Mm.
Yeah, and though Tom, of course, notices how strange she's acting
Mm-hmm.
and notices that the way that Gatsby is looking at her. And so he agrees to go into town. But
Also, how
nowadays,
hasn't he known about her going over to his house?
I have no idea. That don't make a lick of sense to me. I'm like, you're
Mm-mm.
not noticing that your wife is leaving in the middle of the night and coming back super early in the morning?
Right.
Like, no one on your staff told you this?
Right. And or your daughter didn't ask where her mom's been? Like, come on now. Does he even see his kid?
Probably
That's
not.
also the question. Probably
Probably
not.
not. And then so now that Tom wants to go into town, Daisy's like, never mind. I don't want to go to town. But Tom is insistent at this point. And so Tom, Jordan, and Nick go in Gatsby's car. And Gatsby and Daisy go in Tom's car.
How he ever allowed that to happen,
How
I
he
have no
got, yeah,
idea.
I wouldn't allow that to happen.
Mm-mm. If I had any like thought process that my partner was cheating on me and their person that they're cheating with was there, I am not letting those people near each other.
Especially not alone. Like, that's not happening.
Especially not alone.
And so the two cars race towards New York City. And on the way to town, Tom tells them that he's found out about Gatsby and how he grew up poor. When
Ooh.
they get to the Valley of Ashes, Tom stops so that he can refuel Gatsby's car. And Tom speaks to Myrtle's husband, George, while he's refueling and learns that he and Myrtle are planning on moving west because he suspects that she's having an affair. Tom then races off because he's both frustrated and sees Gatsby drive by.
Yeah.
The two continue their race and end up inside the Plaza Hotel. We never learn who won, by
Yeah,
the
we
way.
don't.
Tom then confronts Gatsby about not actually going to Oxford. And Gatsby's like, oh no, I went there, but only for like a couple of months. He's like, I didn't graduate, but like I went there.
Right. I went to Oxford.
And then he also is like, stop sleeping with my wife.
Yeah, also, by the way.
Also, by the way, stop sleeping with my wife. Gatsby states that Daisy never loved him and that they have been in love for 5 years. And this confuses Tom because he's like, we've been married for 4.
Right.
I don't know what's happening.
Where did this happen?
Daisy tells Tom that she never loved him, but not actually, because she just repeats what Gatsby tells her to say.
Yeah.
I don't think Daisy has an original thought in her brain. Because she's just standing there. And then Gatsby's like, say you don't love him. And she's like, I don't love you.
I don't love you. I think the only original thought she's ever had in her head is that her husband is cheating on her.
And is that even original? Because like everyone knew.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Everyone knew. Yeah, and so she does have an original thought. Here we go. She states that she wants to leave Tom. And so
yes.
an upset Tom tells about Gatsby's bootlegging operation. And then he tries to plead with Daisy to stay with him because he has more stable, honorable money.
Built on the back of who?
This makes Gatsby upset, and so he attacks Tom. But he calms down before he actually does anything. But this still frightens Daisy. And so she starts to pull away from Gatsby. This leaves Tom feeling content. And so he's like, okay, y'all can drive home.
I hate that, man.
He's like, you guys can go ahead in Gatsby's car. We'll meet up with you later.
Right.
Tom then offers Jordan and Nick a drink when Nick remembers that it's his 30th birthday.
Poor guy.
He's literally like, I forgot. Today's my birthday.
Yeah. And then Tom's like, oh,
happy birthday.
Happy birthday, by the way.
He's like, weird time to bring that up.
I know. I don't know how that's relevant, but sure.
Yeah, and so Gatsby and Daisy are driving back Whoa, I cannot speak.
Whoa. Bruh.
So Gatsby and Daisy are driving back recklessly while Myrtle's husband is beating her to find out who she's sleeping with. She then sees Gatsby's car and assumes that Tom is driving it and runs out in front of it and gets run over. Poor thing.
Poor thing.
And so later on, Tom drives by the Valley of Ashes and notices all the commotion and learns that Myrtle is dead. Someone states that a yellow car hit Myrtle, so George assumes Tom hit her. But when Tom shows that he's driving a blue car, everyone's like, oh, okay. Even though they saw him in that yellow car earlier.
Right.
I'd still be a little suspicious. Like even the cop was like, what car are you driving? A blue one?
Right.
Okay.
A blue one?
Even though you were seen in a yellow one earlier? Okay.
Right. That's fine.
And so, yeah, Tom then tells him that it belongs to Gatsby and implies that Gatsby was having the affair with Myrtle and says that something ought to be done about Gatsby. When they get back, Tom and Jordan go inside, but Nick stays out to wait for a cab. He finds Gatsby hiding in the bushes, and Gatsby tells him that Daisy was driving in the car. Or he doesn't tell him that, but he tells him that. Because he keeps messing up. He's like, we. Oh. And Nick is like, okay, Gatsby, I see what's going on here. And so Nick goes inside the house to see if anything is happening. And he sees Daisy and Tom speaking about going away and goes out to tell Gatsby, but he doesn't want to hear it. Because Gatsby believes that Daisy will call him in the morning and they'll go off together. Even though Nick is like, hey, people think you did this. You should probably lay low. Just a little bit.
100%.
But Gatsby's like, no, I'll lay low when I have Daisy.
Right.
We'll run away together.
Of course.
But she seems like the type of woman who wants to be on the lam.
Of course. Exactly.
And so the two of them stay up that night, and Gatsby tells Nick the real story about his past that we learned about earlier.
Yeah.
He also tells Nick that the last letter he wrote Daisy asked her to wait for him until he could make something out of himself, which is very presumptuous.
Also, would that send you into a downward spiral on your wedding day?
In fact, that would make me laugh. I would be like, wait until you do what?
Right. At that point, you're like, sure. Throw the letter away after that because you're like,
yeah, sure. Yeah, and so that morning, Gatsby wants to go for a swim while he waits for Daisy's call, but Nick has to go to work. He finally has to go to work. Gatsby asks if Nick believes Daisy will call, and he lies and says that he thinks that she will. Aww. Just so in love with that man.
Yeah.
Gatsby decides to go for his swim while the phone sits by the pool. The phone begins to ring, and we see Daisy about to pick up a phone. Gatsby goes to get the phone from his butler, but he is shot through the heart by Myrtle's husband. And the last thing he sees before he dies is the light at the end of Daisy's pier. And he says her name. Myrtle's husband then kills himself, and we learn that the person on the other line of the phone is Nick, not Daisy.
The love of his life.
Yes, which even furthers my theory that is the true love of his life.
Yes, obviously.
Daisy never calls. Just so you know, Daisy never calls. She picks up the phone, but then she puts it right back down.
Yeah.
The press then blames Gatsby for Myrtle's murder, for having an affair with Myrtle, and Daisy and her family leave New York. They're like, well, we're not going to get tied up in this. They leave.
I
Um,
love though that nobody brings up the fact that he was murdered though by
yeah,
Myrtle's husband.
yeah. They're just like, oh well,
Yeah, they're
he
like,
accidentally hit a woman with his car. He deserved to be murdered.
yeah. And the guy who murdered him is now dead because he committed suicide.
Hmm.
Great.
Can't talk about that.
Can't talk about that.
After Gatsby's death, no one attends his funeral but Nick.
Mm.
And then Nick begins to fall into depression and alcoholism. And during his last day in New York, Nick goes to Gatsby's house and he sees that all of his associates have taken everything out of his house. And then he goes to the dock to watch the green light at the end of Daisy's dock and states that it represents the future. The
Mm.
movie then ends with Nick finishing his novel and naming it The Great Gatsby. So meta.
So meta. They say the name of the movie in the movie.
That's wild.
That's wild.
Revolutionary.
Revolutionary. Everyone should be doing this.
Yeah, so are you ready for the movie facts?
Of course.
There were a lot. I
Hmm.
so many. But here are a couple. On the
Okay.
first day of shooting, the director filmed the scene where Gatsby, Nick, and Daisy have tea during the
Mm-hmm.
rainstorm.
Mm-hmm.
And since it was a beautiful spring day, the director had to use 100,000 liters of water to create the storm.
Oh
And
my
then immediately
gosh.
afterward, it rained for the next 3 days.
Did nobody check the
No
weather?
one checked the weather, Kelly.
Oh my
And this was like
gosh.
2012.
Y'all wasted all that
All that
water.
water.
And for what?
Um,
Y'all.
it's a mess. Well,
Mm-mm.
a mess. Carrie Mulligan revealed that she disliked her performance in this film, and she believed that,
Really?
yeah, and she believed that the huge scale of the project overwhelmed her. And so after completing it, she decided to focus on smaller films with more tightly knit cast and crews.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know this was a huge cast, but okay.
Right. Like
I
we
can only
only
think of
really
like
stick
6 characters.
right. We only stick with five. Well, I
Apparently,
don't know.
that's too much for her.
I guess. And she wasn't even in the party scenes really, so
No, she went to one party scene.
yeah.
Um, Shortly before and after its release, this film inspired many celebrities to host Gatsby themed costume parties.
Yeah.
Prince
I
Harry
remember that.
attended one that cost $25,000 to throw. Paul McCartney threw his own for his birthday.
Mm-hmm.
And the like peak of these parties happened like right before the movie premiered.
Mm-hmm.
And in London, publicists advised socialites about which of the many Gatsby parties they should attend. In America, CNN offered a guide for affluent parents on hosting Gatsby themed bashes for their children.
Are you serious?
Yeah,
Wow.
CNN.
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 The most breaking news you could cover in 2012.
How to throw a extravagant
Gats.
party for your children.
Right. Right. Eesh.
And ironically, the this novel is critical of such
Yeah.
self-indulgent parties.
Y'all
uh,
totally missed the point.
Went right over their heads.
Right over your head.
Um, do you want to guess who was considered to play Tom?
Ooh. Can I have a hint? Which one?
That's for you to find out.
George Clooney?
No,
Christian Bale?
Nope.
Oh, I don't know any other Batman.
What? You don't know the other
Who's?
Batmans?
I'm not a big fan of Batman.
Ben
I haven't
Affleck.
really seen.
Ben Affleck.
Oh, Ben Affleck.
You couldn't even remember
Ooh.
the latest Batman?
No, I guess not.
That's terrible. Yeah, he was originally
Oh,
cast as Tom,
wow.
but he had to drop out because of a scheduling conflict with Argo.
No.
And then after he dropped out, Bradley Cooper and Luke Evans were considered.
Bradley Cooper?
Yeah, that would have been bad.
Yeah, I don't think I would have liked seeing him in this at
I wouldn't.
all.
No. Let's see. Now we get
Would
to
he even
guess.
look good as the character?
No,
Yeah, I didn't think
that was
so.
bad. That would have been bad casting. Happy they didn't do that.
Yeah.
Now it's time to guess daisies. There's a lot of daisies.
Oh, is there?
Yes. At least 2 of these people we've done movies on. 3.
That doesn't.
3 of these
That
movies.
doesn't
3 of these people we've done
narrow it
movies on.
down. Ooh. Are some of them like bigger stars that I know, like
Yeah.
straight off?
I think
Yeah?
you know 90% of these people.
Oh, but can I know? Do I know any of their names?
Yeah.
Reese Witherspoon. We've done one
No.
with her. No. Alicia Silverstone. We've done a movie with her.
No.
No.
For one of
What's
these
her name?
For one of these women, we literally just did her movie.
You just did her movie?
Yes.
And it wasn't. Oh, that one hasn't come out yet. Shoot, what's her name? From Charlie's Angel. What's her name? No? Yes?
No.
No? Okay. We just did their movie.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Let me see. We did it 1, 2.
Yeah,
2
you're gonna
movies
have to
ago.
remind me. Two movies ago?
2 movies ago.
A Fantastic Four?
Yes.
What was her name? I don't remember her name, but her?
Jessica
Yes?
Alba. Yes.
Jessica Alba, yes.
So the full list, a very long list, is Amanda Seyfried.
Oh, okay.
Rebecca Hall.
Rebecca Hall?
Rachel McAdams.
I could kind of see her.
Keira Knightley.
Period drama queen.
Blake Lively.
Oh.
Some woman named Abby Cornish.
Abby Cornish?
I have no idea who that is. Michelle Williams, who I thought this was Michelle Williams, so oops.
Oops. Oh yeah, it's not, isn't it? Ooh.
Nope. Natalie Portman.
I could kind of see her too.
Eva Green, whoever that is. Anne Hathaway.
Oh, Eva Green. I think she would have been too good for that one.
Olivia Wilde. And last but not least, the Asian queen herself, Scarlett Johansson.
Shut up.
So many women were considered for this role. So diverse.
I would have said if they did manage to cast the Queen Keira Knightley herself, she would have outacted everybody else. I'm just saying, she's too big for this movie, I think.
This is not a far enough period piece for her.
It really isn't.
She needs World War I and back.
Or earlier.
Earlier.
Yeah.
That's her sweet spot.
Yeah, that is her sweet spot.
Or in a fantasy film that does not have a specific time.
True.
And then the last movie fact.
Uh-huh.
Jay-Z served at this as the executive producer for this film, and
Yes,
he
I saw
convinced the director to use the hip hop soundtrack featuring a number of his songs. You
that.
know,
Of course, as you do.
just a suggestion.
Just a suggestion, because I'm here. Just use my music.
And now we've
No,
come
but
to the
I
yeah,
I think no, but like I think the music choice was pretty cool.
it was.
Because I think if they did just do period correct music, it wouldn't have been as flashy.
No,
But yeah,
love
I
the
do I
music
do understand.
choices.
Love the music choices. We did not get enough Beyonce, but
No, especially since Jay-Z was all over that album. We could have used
of
a little bit more
course,
Beyonce,
yeah, just a little, just maybe one or two more. You know what I mean?
but it's fine.
That's fine.
Beyonce always gets the last laugh.
Yes,
It's
she
fine.
does. Yes, she does.
Now we've come to the question, Kelly. Is it iconic?
I might be controversial, but I'm gonna say no.
I was gonna say yes.
Okay.
I was gonna say yes.
Okay. I just don't think so because I don't know if the story was that interesting.
It's not. This is in
Yeah.
fact probably Leonardo DiCaprio's weakest movie, but
Yeah.
it's visually stunning and the
It
music
yeah,
is
it
good.
is. Yeah, like I love how they had everything so colorful in the beginning and the music was great. And then like towards the end, everything is just the cooler tones, black, grays, and greens, stuff
Yes.
like that. Like that was beautiful to look at. But I feel like if just sitting down and watching this movie just too, I don't think I'd be that captivated by it.
Hmm. I I like it.
Okay.
I like it visually. I like
Mm-hmm.
how as more stuff was happening in the movie, the tone of the movie got darker, that the
True.
colors in the movie got darker. Love that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um the music is what really takes it over the top for me.
True.
Great music, great choices. So yeah, I think it's iconic. Also, anything with Leonardo DiCaprio in it, I will watch. So yeah.
True. True.
But do you have any recommendations for this week?
I do. So my first one, it might be on your list as well. Shang-Chi.
Oh, it's not.
It's not.
It's
Okay.
not.
So that is my first recommendation. It is so good. It is not like every other Marvel movie that has come out so far. I can't wait
A lot of
for
good
another.
action.
A lot of great action. Also Asian representation. Let's go. I can't wait for the second one whenever that one comes out. And my second recommendation is Certified Lover Boy by Drake.
Oh, you listened to it.
Yes, I did.
I can't bring myself to listen to a 22 song album. I can't. I can't do it. It's too many.
I mean,
I've heard a couple of songs, but like to listen to the album in its entirety sounds so daunting.
his last album was like that, Scorpion.
I don't think I listened to that one either in its entirety.
11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. That one is 25, by the way.
That's ridiculous.
That is 25.
12 songs max.
Wow, really? 12
That
songs max?
12 songs max.
Oh yeah, I'm used to the 20 plus.
If it's a good enough album, we can stretch it to about 15.
Okay.
But
I can
12
see
is the
that.
sweet spot. 12 is it.
I think maybe because I'm used to like Broadway albums where it's 15 plus songs.
Yeah, that's my gripe with Broadway. Some of those songs need to be cut. some some of those songs need to
Dang.
be. I know they need the songs to like further the plot, but some of those songs
Uh,
need to be cut.
dang. Okay. All right.
I have a couple in Wicked. Won't bring that up right now. Let's
You better bring it up later.
Let's go to my recommendations. First
Okay.
recommendation is the Great Gatsby album. Iconic.
Okay.
Great songs. A Little Party Never Killed Nobody. Young and Beautiful. Beyonce's Back to Black with Andre 3000. Amazing.
Beautiful.
Iconic. What's that song Jay-Z has in here? $100 Bills. Great. Second one, Charmed. Started watching it last week. This is like
which Charmed?
Oh, not the new one.
Okay, I was about to be like, Jordan, we might have to end this call early.
It's most definitely the OG.
Okay, I was about to say.
I'm on season 3 now.
Oh, good. I love Charmed.
Cole is here, so I'm living my best life. But yeah, watch the original Charmed. It's on Peacock, please. Even though it's literally the worst name ever for a streaming service.
Of course.
It's there and it's free, so go ahead and watch it. But yeah, that's it for me this week. Anything else you wanted to bring up, Kelly?
No, I think I'm good.
Other than the songs I want cut from Wicked, which we will talk about later.
Oh yes. Yes, we can do that now, or we can do that later.
Let's do that later. Let's do that later. Not the appropriate place now. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Don't forget to follow us on our social media. We have a Twitter and an Instagram. They're both at SYTYI Podcasts. You can also follow our YouTube account, which has old episodes. The last episode that went up was Death Becomes Her, but you will be listening to this like 2 weeks later, so who knows what will be up by then. Send us your movie stories. Were you an extra on this movie?
Were you invited for the party scenes?
Yeah. Did you also think Carey Mulligan was, what's her name?
Daisy?
No.
Oh no, Jordan or whatever.
Did you also think that Daisy, the woman who plays Daisy, Carey Mulligan, was Michelle Williams like I did? Please let me know, because like
did you also fall in love with Gatsby?
With Gatsby. Do you also believe that Nick was in love with Gatsby?
Yes, please.
Because who falls into a state of depression over a white man like that unless they're in love?
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, who does that of their own free will?
Yeah, let us know. Or you can send us a movie request at our email, sytyipodcast@gmail.com. Don't forget to share us with your friends and your family. You can subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Podbean, Google Podcasts, all of the podcast places.
Podbean, that sounds so cute.
It does. Sounds very cute. Do I know what it is? No.
Absolutely not.
It's just on our analytic thingy. I don't know what it is.
Sorry to all you Podbean listeners.
Yeah. The probably one Podbean listener we have. Sorry. Also, you can rate and review us on Apple Podcasts. It really helps us out. Also, don't forget to wear your mask.
Wash those masks as well.
Wash your mask. Wash your hands. Get vaccinated and stay iconic.
Stay iconic, y'all.
Bye.